My new business plan, I've been through like every business plan on the planet. This is the one that works for me, and it is helping people. If you start helping people, and the people that you help is in line with your purpose, and you're clear on your purpose, things will unfold for you. Three and a half years ago, when I did CBC, I had been running a marketing agency, was unfulfilled, as so many people kind of get to that stage, and I knew that I wanted to do something else. And I had had a coach, and this coach had massively touched my life, and I felt that that was the direction that I wanted to go in. In fact, she said to me, "Have you considered being a coach?" And I was like, "Oh my God, I love this stuff." So I took CBC, and I remember on the first call, I really wanted to ask a question. And I literally, as soon as I felt like I wanted to ask a question, my heart started like going like the clappers, and I started to sweat a little bit. And I just remember thinking, I was like, shall I do it, shall I not? Shall I do it, shall I not? And then I thought, Elisa, if you don't put your hand up right now, you're a chump. So I pressed the button on the little reaction button to put my hand up before I could back out of it. And then, you know, you can see everyone else has got their hands up, and you can see the little thumbnails. And so I'm waiting for these thumbnails to go down for it to be my turn to ask a question. And whilst this is happening, my body has gone into some kind of state of hyperdrive. I'm like sweating like a pig. Even like my palms were sweating. I'm shaking. I was just an absolute wreck. My heart was like thumping out of my chest. Like, what the hell was going on for me? And it's basically because I felt like an imposter. I felt like all of the people on this call were amazing. They're incredible business people. Why was I here? What if my question was stupid? You know, all of these things are running through my mind. And I remember as these hands are kind of going down and my turn's getting nearer, that I have this flashback memory of going somewhere with my mum when I was, I don't know, about 12 or 13. I used to be incredibly shy, like the shyest person on the planet. But my mum was always pushing me to do stuff. She was one of those mums. And I remember we went into this meeting and everyone was already there, and they were all sat in a circle, and I begged my mum, please don't make me say anything, because I knew that my mum's the kind of mum that would say, "Oh, Elisa will do it," and I'd just like freak out. So I begged her, please don't make me say anything. And she didn't, but after a while it became apparent to me, as I was sitting in this circle, that everyone was speaking one after the other. And I was gonna have to say something. So So this memory is flashing back to me where I literally nearly died. I had to read something. I couldn't even remember getting the words out. I went bright red. Everyone looked at me. So this memory of like 12-year-old me is coming back while the hands are going down. By the time it got to my turn to ask Ajit a question, all I remember was shouting something at him because I just had to get it out. So I shouted. I mean, I must have come across really aggressive. I can't remember a thing that he said because my heart was thumping so loud I couldn't hear anything. And then I probably, like when he finished, or he might even have asked me a clarifying question, I don't know, but I just went, "Thank you!" And video off immediately. And then I was like, oh my God. So, okay, poster child for imposter syndrome. Yes, that is me. But now, 3.5 years later, I host CBC. So that is the transformation that can happen when you start putting yourself out there.
So I remember being on that first call with you, Elisa.
Oh my God.
and just to see the journey you've been on is absolutely fantastic. Now, I know you host CBC now. At the same time, there was a point in your journey, right after you graduated from CBC. CBC, for those of you who are wondering, what are these acronyms, is Certified Business Coaching, okay? So it's Mindvalley Certified Business Coaching. So she hosts the certification cohort of this program, and I know once you graduated, there was this tremendous explosion of opportunities that came your way, and all in the business coaching realm, which you took on head on.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what unfolded for you after that.
So really, if you start putting yourself out there and you just offer to help people, like my new business plan, people, consists of 2 words. I've been through like every business plan on the planet. This is the one that works for me, and it is helping people. If you start helping people, and the people that you help is in line with your purpose, and you're clear on your purpose, things will unfold for you. Whenever I went wrong, it's because I wasn't listening to my purpose. I was chasing money. I was being driven by fear and my ego, rather than surrendering to what I feel that I'm here on this planet to do. So yes, I got lots of opportunity and did lots of stuff, and quickly found out what didn't work for me, what did work for me, and what I did, which I think is what a lot of people do, I did what was familiar to me, right? Familiar is safe. So I did lots of business coaching. But really, I wanted to help people I want to help wake people up. I want to help people see how incredible they are. I want to help them see their potential. I want them to step into it. And I thought that's a whole different ballgame, though. And people in business are not going to be interested in that. And, my whole life, people have called me, you're too idealistic. Like, no one's going to be interested in that. No one's interested in spiritual stuff and all of this kind of stuff. And, of course, I listened to it because I was afraid. However, there comes a point at which, if you're going to be a coach, you might as well be the coach that you want to be, right? You're here to change your own life as well and be true to yourself. So be the coach that you want to be. And the thing that I didn't realize, or I maybe didn't believe at first, is that I can combine business with personal transformation, with spirituality. And I think what's so wonderful about CBC is, when we do our labs, we start with a meditation every single time. And I always think, how amazing would it be if every boardroom in every business started with a meditation, right? If everyone got really present. And they knew their purpose before they started talking, and they were not bringing all the baggage from the past into this meeting. So there we go.
Elisa, I want to speak to that chatter inside your head, because I know it's so relevant for so many of us, right? Where we have this thought that people only pay for dash. Yeah. People only pay for business coaching, or people only pay for whatever that is. But something shifted inside you where you said, you know what? People will pay for whatever creates value.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about what that shift was for you, and how did you go through that shift?
I think for me, it was, like I said, it's about following my purpose, regardless, actually. Like, now I feel that I've surrendered to my purpose. I'm no longer worrying about the money, because I know the money will come. And I think sometimes we can get so stuck on what's familiar, what we know, or we can get so stuck on our goals that we miss that actually there might be something much greater that is destined for us. So when we can actually release the goal and just think, okay, who is it that I want to be in this world? And we get really, we tap into that. Who is it that I want to be? How do I want to show up? How do I want to operate in the world? And that is all about being true to who it is that you are. And I think when you do that, the money will come anyway. Like, everyone has always called me, you're too idealistic. No one is going to be interested, like no one in business is interested in spirituality. All of this kind of stuff. But all the time people tell me this. And then I was like, I just want to work for companies. Now, this is part of my purpose. I want to work with companies that are serving humanity. That is it. And it occurred to me one day, I don't know why this didn't occur to me earlier. I was like, oh, hang on a minute, I'm working with EverCoach. And aren't they about serving humanity? And I was just like, I just proved that old belief wrong. So you've got to look at what's right in front of your face as well. Sometimes, like, the universe is going to push you in the right direction. But I think, like we were talking about yesterday, the universe will push you in the right direction, but I think it's much easier to walk in the right direction.
Beautifully said, Elisa. Thank you for that. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to start off today with Elisa's story is because one of the things that happened for you is, I know one of the values that you live your life by very, very strongly is service. And a massive opportunity came your way when you showed up from that place of service with no expectations. I want you to talk about that opportunity in the collaboration of a major book that is very, very well known in the world of coaching, and how that opportunity showed up for you.
Okay, yes, this is a good story. So, how many of you know Steve Chandler? If you don't, you should, because he's also known as the godfather of coaching. So, Rich Litvin, Michael Neal, Christine Hassler, all of these guys all had Steve Chandler as their coach. He's written over 30 books. He's one of my favorite authors, one of my favorite coaches. I'm a total, girl geek on Steve Chandler. And I had I was always kept going off my path all the time, chasing financial rewards, chasing this, chasing that, but not chasing my purpose. And one day, I sat down. I have a sticker on my monitor at home. I have quite a lot of stickers, but this one says, "Stay on the path." And this message really resonates with me, and I have to remind myself to stay on the path. And I was being coached by an amazing coach who, Steve was his coach, and I was talking to him about these challenges that I was experiencing that I kept going off my path, and that what I really want to do is stay on the path. So a few weeks later, I get a book through the post, and I open it up, and it's one of Steve Chandler's books, Creator. I open up the cover, and inside it read, "Stay on the path, love, Steve." Super beautiful, right? Anyway, a few months later, I was on LinkedIn, and I'd just been reading through one of Steve's books. He wrote The Prosperous Coach, which you may know, with Rich Litvin. I was reading through it, and just taking action according to what it said, connect, invite, that whole system. So I was looking on LinkedIn, and I saw that a post Steve had shared from one of his co-authors, Will Keeper. And in this post, Will was lamenting how badly their last book had done. I mean, badly in relative terms, right? It was called The Wellbeing Bucket List. And I thought, I can help him. I've been running a marketing agency for the last 10 years. I've got press lists. I'll happily sit with him for half an hour, and because this is an easy to market book. It's very niche. So I got in contact with Will, and I just said, look, I'll happily give you my press list and happily sit with you for half an hour if you want to, and I'll help you see, how can we get this book out there more? So I didn't think he would get back to me, and he did about a week later, and he said, thanks so much, that's really nice of you. I'll get back to you in a couple of weeks. I thought, he's never going to get back to me. A couple of weeks later, he did get back to me, and then we had a chat, and I helped him, and then I was looking on his website, and I noticed that really he needed some help with the copy on his website. It wasn't doing him justice. And I can't help myself, right? If I see bad copy on a website, I'm like, oh no, I need to fix that. So I wrote to him, I sent him an email with just some suggestions. I think this would work much better if you put it this way, blah, 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 blah. No expectations, I'm just in service, just helping. And then I think I sent him something else. And anyway, we were having a few chats back and forward, and then he sent me a paragraph of something. He said, what do you think of this? And I'm very honest when it comes to these things, so I said, I think this needs changing, and I sent it back. And then he sent me the whole chapter of something. He said, would you mind taking a look at this? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I have a look. Oh my God, this needed some help. So I do some work on it. And then he wrote back to me and he said, I'm writing another book at the moment. Would you be happy to edit the book? Sure, amazing. So we agreed. This was a paid agreement. And then after a few months in, it became apparent that this is a book that he's co-writing with Steve Chandler. I'm like, oh my God, this is a Steve Chandler book. Okay, but I'm working with Will. But Will said to me, look, Steve's got his own editor. He's worked with this guy, Chris Nelson, for the last 20 years. He's not interested in you having a look. I'm like, I don't care. I get to edit this book, a Steve Chandler book. But I'm just editing Will's side of the book because it's co-authored. And then once I'd done Will's stuff, I was about 3/4 of the way through, Will sent me an email and he's like, Steve's read what you've done to my side of the book, and now he's asking if you can have a look at his side of the book. So I had this meeting with Steve, and I thought, I know me, right? Like, I had spoken to Steve on a call before, actually with EverCoach, and I totally went so fangirly, it was embarrassing. So I thought, I can't do that this time, I'm going to have to be cool. But unfortunately, I went so cool that I was a bit, like, freezy cool, you know, like, oh yeah, I don't care that you're Steve Chandler. I was like that. So anyway, I had this call with Steve and Will, and we went through all of my notes and blah, 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 and it was just like, brilliant. So the book got published, and you will now see my name in it several times. Yeah.
So this is what I absolutely love about this story, because you see the number of times Elisa had to put service first. Serve, serve, serve. Serve without any expectations. Serve without any hope of anything happening. Serve and keep that conversation alive before something that she never expected in her wildest dreams unfolded for her. And I want to, basically applaud your commitment and your courage to be able to keep that hope and that faith in service alive for so long.
Yeah.
Because it's anyone in your situation could have said, hey, I think it's about time to make this official, right? I think it's about time to get paid for this. I think it's about time to ask something in return. But I love the essence of this story that I wanted to get Elisa to share, is that sometimes service requires you to go on a journey where you have no idea what's going to come in return, but you still keep your faith in service. And on that note, I wanted to give a huge round of applause to Elisa for sharing this beautiful, beautiful story with us.